Let's take a look at the motherboard, or the main board rather, before it goes in to our Noritz hot water tankless system. So here's the replacement main circuit board for our NRCP series. First thing I want to point out is you will get instructions with this, and it looks really simple. But make sure that you verify the right model number and that the dip switches are in the correct position. So once you're at the Noritz system, you'll find two screws, one here and one just below there, and then two on top. Pull off the 4 screws, and then the actual face of the cabinet will actually hang by itself. You don't have to worry about it falling off. Gently lift it off, and then let's take a look at the inside of the unit and what this repair is going to entail. Okay, the 4 screws are off. As you can see, it's just hanging. You just simply pull it off and put it off to the side. Now you've got the inside of the unit exposed, and we're ready to begin the replacement of the main board, which I'll lower the camera here, is this section here. Okay, we're looking at the display panel now. So at this point, I'm going to hold the function button, which is right here, for several seconds until it illuminates. And the first thing it does is go into the installer mode, and this is the recirc. So I've got my setting to off, as you can see. The instructions now say scroll down to the 8FH setting and record that. So I'm going to record this, and it says to go to the next setting, which is 9FL. So just going to take the dial here, turn it 1 click to the right. 9FL is 5. The next setting is, by turning the dial to the right once again, is 10AG. The setting on ours is 0. So these numbers are going to be important. When you put the new main circuit board in, you'll have to enter these into the new circuit board. Okay, so the numbers have been recorded. I'm going to go ahead and power off the unit from here. You can see there's a green light in this area. That will indicate the power is definitely off. And the next thing I'm going to do is completely unplug the unit here on the left. The reason is, just from working on computers, circuit boards can still carry an electrostatic charge. What I like to do at this point is put the unit on, with it off or disconnected. Also hold the power button in to drain any electricity in the unit. Go back and turn it off. So if you notice, the green light didn't light up, so I'm confident the unit is completely discharged. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label all of these clips here. You can see all these wires. It really can only fit in one place, but for simplicity purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and mark it with a 1, number 2. This one will be 8. So I've got to pull all these out and then go ahead and pop out these 2 screws and put the new one in. Okay, before you start to plan to pull out the 2 screws, once again, if you just push on the clip and rock it back and forth, it will come out. Keeping all these in order. That one I had pulled out a moment ago, as well as this one. Now we'll go to the next one. You can see I'm rocking it back and forth, and it does come out. This one's number 4. You can see they all kind of hang in the same place, so you really can't mix these up. I'll take this top one out. There, I fixed that one. That one's number 3. There was also an empty clip up here. So in our case, there won't be another clip going into one of these. It's just the one right below. There's the second one. Number 2. And then finally, number 1. Because all the clips are out. And we are set to pull out that circuit board, which will be this screw and the one screw over here. Okay, so let's get this old unit replaced. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is, so this doesn't fall and break, I'm going to just string tie this real quick. So since I'm working by myself, I basically just took 3 twisties and ran it through this bottom section here, tied it up at the top so it doesn't fall and crash to the ground. Let's go ahead and put the new one in. By the way, just so you don't mix up the new one and the old one, as you can see, I wrote old on the top, just so I make sure I put the right board in and not the old one. Another thing I'd like to point out is that if you can avoid touching the circuit board, always grasp the replacement unit from the outsides. Do your very best to keep your hands off that board, and whatever you do, don't drop it. Okay, let's go ahead and put this new one back in. Okay, the new unit is in. It's being held on by one screw. I didn't really use the twisties, and the reason for that is because it can easily rest on this ledge, so I secured it with one hand while I threaded the screw with the other. It was pretty simple. So let's go ahead and put the other screw in. Now, one thing I recommend is never to tighten or even over tighten these. Keep both screws a little bit loose so that you can maneuver it just a little bit and get everything into place, especially the plugs, because they are fairly tight. Okay, both screws are secured. Let's go ahead and put these clips back in. Again, the screws are not overly tightened. As you can see, I still got some maneuverability here, just to give myself some leeway in putting in these clips. Okay, there goes clip number 4. Make sure you hear it clip too. These are nice and secure. Okay, and then finally the last one. Okay, so all the clips are in. They're not loose, they're secure. Just double checking. They're all good. Don't forget that top one there. There's not supposed to be anything in there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and secure this down now. No need to over tighten anything. You could crack the housing. Certainly want to avoid that. Okay, before you begin to even think about powering on this unit, make sure those dip switches are correct. If they're not, that could cause certainly a problem. So ours is the propane one, once again, and dip switches 2 and 3 are in the down position. You can see number 3 right there. Okay, for the next step, make sure this is off. Just simply hit the power button here and make sure this unit is off, okay? We're going to go ahead and enter those entries from the old system into the new system. So with the system off from the power button, hold the function button in here. It's going to take a couple of seconds. Okay, when the installer menu comes up, let's just go ahead and get those previous numbers in and we're good to go. So I've already done this, but I'm going to show you how to do this right here on the camera. So once you're in the IRC mode that's flashing, you're basically going to take the dial and you're going to rotate to 8FH. Okay, once you get to 8FH, push the center dial, lock that in place. Then you can go to your number setting and rotate it to whatever it should be. Ours was 25. Lock it in place by hitting enter. When you're back on the 8FH, rotate it one click to the right, then you're on 9FL, lock it in place. That number, when you install it, again, will be at 0. You need to set it to your number, not my number. Ours was previously set to 5. So again, just to change the number, you can pick whatever your number is. Ours is on 5, lock it in place. Back to the main menu where 9FL is flashing. Rotate it to the right, then you're on 10AG. Once the 10AG is flashing, lock it in place, go to your number, and enter the number that you recorded previously from your old circuit board. Once you've changed the dial and entered in your number, ours was 0, lock it in place, and you're back on 10AG is flashing. Go ahead and hit the function button, get the function button off. Okay, the next step is to power the unit on. It talks about setting the clock. Our clock was already pre-programmed, so if you need to get into the clock menu, it's pretty simple. You're going to basically hold the function button with the power on the screen here. Once you're pressing that in, a menu should come up. Okay, you're going to rotate this until you see set. Once you hit the lock button, go ahead and scroll through the year. You can change it here, lock that in place, then do the month, change it with the dial, lock that in place, change the date, lock that in place, make sure it says the correct day of the week here, lock that in place, correct hour. Once again, you can change that here, lock that in place, the minutes, lock that in place, and you are all set. Go ahead and hit the function button, and you're literally all done at this point. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my video, and this provides some confidence to you, the homeowner, that can do this circuit board replacement yourself.